reviews.
What is up, guys? Welcome to Boomer Base. Welcome to another After Cinema Reviews. Today I am here to review James Wan's, I actually never know how to pronounce it, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, aka Aquaman 2. So, this is the final film in the DCEU. Let's start talking about it and let's get cracking. But before we get to the real content, if you end up liking what you see and want to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified anytime I upload. Aquaman 2. Let's provide some context. I hadn't watched Aquaman 1 since it first got released, and all I had to go off was my thought process of I didn't like that film, but on IMDB, where I rate things, it was an 8. So I was very confused. So I took it upon myself to have a Aquaman double bill. Me and my friend watched the first one first, and then we went to the cinema to watch number 2. Now, Aquaman 1 itself is by no means a perfect film, nothing like that. But visually, it's very stunning, and I have to give it that. There were some scenes, where it didn't look too good, but visually it was stunning. And some of the fight scenes, especially at the end, were very, very cool. I have to give it props to that. So I assume that's probably why I gave it an 8. It went down to a 7 now, but hey ho. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So overall, somehow the story ended up being weirdly worse. To me at least. Some of the fight scenes were cool. Some of the choreography, especially with one of the last fight scenes, was very, very cool. And some of the underwater stuff and fights was very good. But overall, it just didn't feel like there was much flavour to it. It built upon stuff that had nowhere to go come an Aquaman 3, if that makes sense. As far as things go, it's not a good film. Visually, it looks cool and whatnot, but out of 2023, when we got the announcement that this was ending, things like Shazam 2, which was a god-awful fucking film, The Flash, not an amazing film, but still had some very cool elements in and some fan service. Blue Beetle, a good start, but again, it came at the end, so there wasn't much to warrant or enjoy about it. Why get excited about a film that has nowhere to go, really, with a universe that's ending? It's quite sad. But as the DCEU goes, my view upon DC versus Marvel is I think DC produced very good TV shows and animated series, and then Marvel, up until after Endgame, produced very good films. And they've done some pretty cool things with TV shows. Like, I really enjoy WandaVision, and I really enjoy Loki. And I mean, Miss Marvel was... I enjoyed that. But as of DC, there's still a few films I haven't watched. I haven't watched Black Adam. I haven't watched Wonder Woman 2. I haven't watched Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. And then I technically haven't watched Justice League, but I've watched the Zack Snyder cut, which is how I want to remember Justice League now. And yeah, definitely the DCU itself has a lot of potential, and it's quite sad that it had to end on this sort of fumble with just not good films. Like, you had 4 films come out this year, and none of them were very good at all. So, I mean, let's actually talk about Aquaman 2 a bit more. Sorry, I'm tangenting a lot. I mean, the film starts with way more Amber Heard than I thought we were going to have at all. And then she's still in the film a fair amount. And I think that's something that, coupled with the DCEU ending, just makes this not a nice film. It's hard to separate it with Amber Heard for me for some reason. I don't know if it's just because it's fresh and I saw more of it than, for example, like other people, but DC really just not doing well with having Ezra Miller and Amber Heard in films and getting them to keep and reprise roles, which I think is outrageous and awful. And then you look at people like Johnny Depp. I nearly called him Jack Sparrow then. Johnny Depp, who just got kicked out from everything and was still not found guilty. And then you have, Jonathan Majors, who's now just not going to reprise roles anymore, and he was completely kicked to the curb and things. And I think that's some of the difference. Although Jonathan Majors probably wouldn't have the most amazing films, given Ant-Man 3 and stuff, but like, at least Marvel made the correct decision. Like, I think as soon as they announced it, they probably should have put these films to bed. I mean, Blue Beetle is definitely a cool origin film in itself, but I don't think we needed Shazam 2 or The Flash or Aquaman. I mean, Blue Beetle I'll probably own as I enjoyed it, and the Flash I might because it did have some cool elements, and I think overall it's kind of cool. But we shall see. But overall, there was just we had two villains. We had Black Manta returning to want to kill Aquaman again because he didn't die in the first film, and shit like that. And then he does some digging and exploring and finds this Black Trident. Ooh, whoopee! I mean, the Black Trident's cool. It gives him powers. He basically becomes possessed by the real villain of the film, Kordax, who's the younger brother of Atlanta or Atlan. No, Atlan, and he's the king of Necrus. That's the seventh realm of the underwater sea bollocks. And I mean, last time we had Orv wanting to, take over the land and destroy, Earth, blah blah blah, and Aquaman was like, no. And then in this film, we've got Aquaman being like, let's talk to the land and get them sorted. And then the council are like, no, let's not do that. But essentially, Black Manta starts Orchium or something. I actually can't remember. It's been so forgettable in less than a day. They get this special liquid stuff that's poisonous to the world and shit. And he powers vehicles and stuff. And he's trying to basically undo this black magic spell that has Kordax sealed in his entire army. It's very much like Angmar and the Witch King sort of looking how the base looks at the end of the film and whatnot. Aquaman goes to free Orv, the Ocean Master, played by Patrick Wilson. And I mean, that's pretty cool. I think one of the nice redeeming bits with this film is it does get to bring the brothers together, and I really do like that with this film. I just think Aquaman at this moment has a son who has the same type of echo communication powers as him. Sadly, Volko apparently died off screen, which I think was a fucking shame. Most likely they couldn't get Willem Dafoe in, but still, that kind of sucks. But they definitely missed a lot of good opportunities with the end of the film. Kordax is getting released and revived and things, and they definitely had an opportunity to do a brothers double trident finisher type of thing, or let Orv have his own sort of base to call himself his own Ocean Master, or to just reintroduce him into society. I know he killed the King Fisherman person and whatnot, but could have worked something out, especially for just the end of the film. But I mean, he goes to enjoy a greasy burger and some beer, which I suppose is okay. I mean, Jason Momoa's new suit for Aquaman looked really cool, really bright and orange, and I really did like that it's the traditional Aquaman suit and whatnot. But he's just a bit of a lughead. There's some funny moments, there's bits where you like him, but it's just very much Aquaman being a lughead meat muscle man, going and doing maybe a couple punches and then just getting beat by technique and then just getting thrown around a load and shit like that. There's a lot of scenes where I was expecting some anime power up type of thing, which I would have accepted it, but he just doesn't, and he ends up kind of sucking. I don't think this Aquaman is, king material. I think he's a very good protector and hero for Atlantis, but I don't think he is king. And he doesn't like being king anyway, but it's one of those things. But yeah, I was expecting this film to be much, much worse, but by all means it's about a 5/6 out of 10. It's hard to get excited about a film when it's the last film and it doesn't go anywhere, and it's just not even a good ending. I was very surprised that they didn't do a credit scene at the end. There was one, but it had nothing to do with any future things or anything like that. So I appreciate that, because I was honestly going to be really furious if there was an end credit scene trying to connect to a film that wasn't going to happen. I was about to be furious about that. But no, it was nice to see the Crab King again. It was nice to see some other things. I do wonder why the Kraken from the end of the first one didn't make an appearance again, or some other big sea creatures. A lot of the machines and things reminded me of the Atlantis Disney film, and I mean, elements of that were very cool and looked visually cool. It's just it's annoying when a film looks visually cool and actually has some cool fight scenes that the story just and some of the dialogue really fail it, and just the pacing as well. It was edited weirdly. It was shorter than the first one. I think James Wan brings a good bit to this film, and I think Black Manta was a cool villain, although despite, oh, you killed my dad, I'm going to kill you, even though I've killed lots of people. It's just one of those tropes that happens in comics that starts to get a bit stale for me now. Like, I think James Wan isn't necessarily a bad director. I think he just isn't allowed maybe to create what he wants. And I think that comes into a lot of stuff for directors nowadays, which is a bit hard, where it's what the producers want compared to what the director actually wants to make. You know, sometimes they do make what they want and it just isn't a good film overall, or doesn't pan out to be amazing. But it was a film where visually will look cool. I might get it, but it follows a lot of tropes that become tiresome now. And I'm becoming tired of just even talking about it, even for the 10 minutes. I think the main elements that it boils down is there was some good acting, kind of, but visually it looked really cool. I love the world building. I think it just, it created a world that looked good on screen and didn't look, too CGI or anything. And I think that's a very good positive. But pretty much everything else it didn't do very well at, and it's quite sad for it to be the last film. But I'm going to keep repeating that it's the last film and things, so I'm probably going to bring it to a close there. I hope people can get enjoyment out of this. I do think that Jason Momoa was an okay Aquaman. He's not the Aquaman that I would want, but it is what it is. Thank you very much for watching. I hope the new DC universe ends up being better than this, and something to be proud of for fans rather than just mediocrity and things. But we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and tune in next time for another episode of After Cinema Reviews. Toodle pip now.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. Click the button to keep watching, or click the other video for more videos, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.